Hello. Welcome to the latest chat from St Mary's Community Church. I want to talk today about why we do what we do. Behind me there's a Bible and a cross, and they really are symbols. They sum up why we do what we do. We do what we do because we believe what we believe. It is all set out for us in this book, which for us is not just a book. It is the living, active Word of God, God's message to us. And the cross, the symbol, the reminder of how Jesus died, gave himself for us. The empty cross, because Jesus rose, he is alive and with us today. That's what we believe. And our aim is to follow him. We believe that God is real. We believe that Jesus was not only a real man who lived in history, and there is really no doubt about that, but that he was both man and God, and that he died and rose to life to bring people back to God because we have all turned away from God. Why do we believe that? We believe it because Jesus is real to us and has transformed our lives. I suppose you could say, well, that's not real, you're just kidding yourselves. Though if you walked in my shoes, you wouldn't be so quick to say that. Why do we believe? I would give you a simple answer, and that is that we believe because Jesus rose from the dead. Now you might say I'm having a laugh. Of all the incredible stories, some people call them fairy stories, that Christians believe, that one is the most incredible of all. But it is the most important story. And if it's true, then there's no problem with the rest. And if it isn't true, then the rest doesn't matter. If Jesus didn't rise from the dead, then there would be no Christians, and there would be no church. His disciples were a frightened bunch who ran away when Jesus was arrested and hid because they thought they would be next. But they went out after the resurrection and told a hostile world that he was alive. It made all the difference. They were prepared to die for that belief. Some of them did die for that belief. But they wouldn't have died for something that they knew was a lie. They definitely believed he had risen. And they knew that he was dead. They knew where he was buried. They knew as well as we do that dead men stay dead and don't rise. But Jesus convinced them that he had risen, that he was alive. If Jesus hadn't risen, they would have had no courage to stand up to the enemies who had killed him. If Jesus hadn't risen, they would have had no credibility. It would have been the easiest thing in the world for his enemies to prove that he was still dead. They just had to produce a body. And if Jesus hadn't risen, there would be no church. Many people throughout history have predicted the death of the church. But today it's alive, it's strong, and it's bigger than ever across the world. When I talk about the church, I'm not talking about an institution like the Roman Catholic Church or the Church of Scotland or the Baptist Church. I mean simply the community of people who believe in and follow Jesus. When we see the risen Jesus, we see God in human form. And when we see that, then the things that he did and the things that he said all make sense. They point to who he really is. And if you look at that and still say, so what? Well, so he completely turns around the lives of those who believe and follow him. So he said, for example, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. If you are weary living in this troubled, broken world. Jesus says, "Come to me, and I will give you rest." This is why we do what we do. This is why we have hope that this mess we're living in isn't all there is. If you want to know more, get in touch. Keep well. God bless you. And I'll talk to you again later.